Today on the Bowser Journal, we're making some modifications to Blue, make it a little bit more efficient. We're putting on some tie-down straps and also putting in a toolbox. So come with us as we make these modifications. My pickup truck does have 4 tie-down anchor points on each of the corner of the beds, but they're behind the bed liner. And unless you're a small child, it's hard to get your fingers back there to attach anything to it, like rope and stuff like that. So the few times that I have hauled stuff with it, it's made it extremely difficult. So I purchased a set of 4 of these. I'm not sure what they're called, but they go inside these little square ports on the side of the truck, and then you can lift these up, and then you can attach your rope to that. And then when they're not using them, they kind of sit down in place. It's supposed to be good rated up to 1,200 pounds. And I'm really only going to be using it just to secure stuff. I'm not going to be putting 1,200 pounds of pressure on it, but it'll help with the tie-down process, because a lot of times it's harder to get to these corner points when you have a load in here already. So with these, I'm going to go ahead and make it a lot easier. We're also going to put a toolbox on the truck. Now the toolbox I'm going to put on is just a cheap toolbox I got off of Craigslist, and it's not really going to be used to store tools. It's going to be used more or less to hold tie-down straps and stuff like that. Stuff that if somebody were to get into it, okay, they're going to get some tie-down straps and some rope. Big deal. But it's going to help keep the truck a little bit more organized when we do that. So let's get to work. What you're going to need to put these in is you're going to need a screwdriver with a big Phillips head bit on it. You're going to take out these 2 small screws, and then this top part will come separate from that part. Let's go ahead and take that out. You're going to be surprised how easy these things are to install. I don't know why I've been putting it off. Actually, I do know why. Because I'm a procrastinator. I'm not just a procrastinator, I'm the president of the Procrastinators Club. So what you undo the screw is the cover comes up. It doesn't always come all the way off. And then this bottom piece will go in the square port, and these little lips will catch on the sheet metal inside the truck. And then the screws will pull them down, hold it nice and tight. The easiest way to get them in is just kind of tilt it a little bit to the side, put it in, push it down until it gets in. Because the top is bigger than the rest of it, it won't fall out. Now you just grab the little hook thing to pull it up. That pulls that bottom piece up. You take your screwdriver and you tighten down the screws. Once you got that first screw all the way down, then it'll be easy for the second one to start. Sometimes it might be, you can let go of that now because it's actually holding that second piece. And then we're going to screw in the second one. And then you tighten it up. Now when I want to use this, I'll just take this, lift it up, run my rope through there, tie it down. Now I've already discovered a mistake. I've got it with the label on towards the front. I want the labels towards the back on all of mine. So now I got to take this out and then redo it, but I'm not going to bore you with that. That whole process took maybe 5 minutes. Again, I don't know why I've been putting it off. I'll put the link for that product in the description below. Now I'm ready to install the toolbox. It's going to be a little bit more involved. I might have to drill. Let's talk about that. As I mentioned, the toolbox I got off of Craigslist. It already has holes drilled in it. I'm going to check it in just a minute, but I did have to purchase some truck down ties. The first thing that will happen is I'll put this washer on the very top. I'll put the bolt down through the holes, right? This will come up underneath. It'll screw into this. And then this lip will come up and catch the very bottom rail of the bed and pull it in nice and tight. Of course, it's blue. It matches the truck. And of course it doesn't fit. I gotta get out the drills. The hardest thing about doing this is keeping the sweat out of your eyes. After you get it set in, you drill the holes, you put the bolts down through, you snug them, you take your tape measure, you make sure you're at equal distances, make sure that you open the door up, make sure it doesn't hit the very back of the truck, and then once you're satisfied with how it's sitting, go ahead with a ratchet, tighten everything down. That was quick and easy, other than the humidity from the floor to heat. I do have one more project, and while I'm doing this project, I want to talk to you about something as we're doing this. Just going to do two things at once here. As you know, we bought this truck, and one of the things I realized after we bought the truck was, and I think it's the wrong one. I guess we're not doing another project tonight because it's the wrong part. Imagine that, Chuck bought the wrong part. Oops. But I do want to talk to you about one more thing before we close up for tonight. When we bought this truck, like I said, we decided on a diesel truck because when taken care of, and they can last several 100,000 miles. One of the things you're going to find, especially when you're looking at the Ford 6.0s and then some of the other Ford diesels, is the term bulletproofing. You got to be super careful with that because it can be a scam. It really can be. Now, for those who may not know what bulletproofing means, there are certain known problems that come along with owning a 6.0 diesel. For example, they have a tendency to overheat, so you might have to put some head studs in them. The cooler is not designed to last for a long period of time, so that could cause a problem. And there's some other things as well. So the term bulletproofing comes from a shop out in Phoenix called Bulletproofing. They're known for taking apart the Ford 6.0s and making their own aftermarket parts, make the truck and replace those known deficiencies and last forever. Now, they're not the only ones that make those parts, but they're the ones that became famous for doing it, and the term bulletproofing. One thing I learned pretty quickly when looking at a truck is salespeople love to throw around that term bulletproofing, and most of them don't even know what it means. And some of them know partially what it means, but they don't know how to check it, because there are some ways that you can check. So if you are buying a used Ford diesel truck and the salesperson says it's been bulletproofed, first thing you should ask for is, where's the paperwork? If they don't have the paperwork, then I don't even consider it bulletproof, because there's got to be some kind of documentation trail. You want to make sure it's done by a reputable shop, not some backyard mechanic. Not that there's nothing wrong with backyard mechanics, because I work on stuff in my backyard too. But if I'm purchasing a vehicle and they're saying it's bulletproof and I'm going to be putting my money into that and it's going to be lasting for a long period of time, I want documentation. So you don't know if it was, because a lot of times they buy the trucks at auction. One guy told me, he goes, oh yeah, it was bulletproof. And I was like, really? Well, what level of bulletproofing was done? Did you have the head studs done? Did you have the cooler done? Did you have, was the water pump changed out? Because the water pump's got like a plastic impeller instead of a metal one like the aftermarket ones do. And he didn't know. He goes, I don't know. So you got to ask those kinds of questions. Now, I bought mine unmolested, meaning that it's stock it is from the factory, and it only has a little over 100,000 miles on it. It's got like 116,000 miles on it. The reason I did that is because now I can bulletproof it and change it out, and I can do it myself. That way I know that it's done right, or take it to a shop and have it done right, as opposed to having to take it to a shop and have them do it. Somebody else had done it at the shop who owned it before me, and I don't know, that mechanic might not be a good mechanic. So be careful with the term bulletproofing, because it can cause you some problems, and make sure you do your research, because like I said, there are some ways you can tell if some things have been bulletproof. For example, if it's been studded, meaning they've replaced the studs for the heads. You can actually look at the head bolts and tell whether they are studs or if they're bolts, and that's one way of telling you it's been studded. That's also a good way to check to verify your salesperson, because if they say that it's been bulletproofed and it's been studded, and you look at it hasn't been, well then you know your salesperson's lying to you. Not that salespeople lie to you, but some car salespeople will lie to you. So you got to make sure that you know how to check that and verify that, or just assume that if they said that it was and you can't prove it, assume that it wasn't. So watch out for the bulletproofing scam. So until then, live your own story.